Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of the Ripple Effect Podcast. We're so glad to be with you today, whether you're watching this online or listening on your commute or in your house or on a jog. We hope that today will be encouraging for you. Today in the studio, we're joined by Brian Sevitz, and I have Sherry Wallis with us from Central Christian College of the Bible. We'll get to her here in a little bit, but we're glad that she's in the studio with us today. But before we get to anything, we have to do our sponsor of the week because we like to do this. Disclaimer, this is not an actual sponsor. We just like to have fun with it. Go ahead, Brian.
The sponsor is Extra Easter Candy.
Yes!
And I hope that the grandparents don't watch this and get mad at us or something, but our kids had so much Easter candy that we said, you have to fill a bag each, put it in the cabinet, and we're taking the rest to church, so they get to decide
which ones to get.
And they actually sent to the church Twix and
they sent the good stuff. Oh,
so
nice.
Which isn't good for me walking past it all the time. But maybe Sunday, when you're here, we'll have a little bit of this out.
A little extra candy for you.
Yeah.
Sherry, did you do the parent tax with your children?
I made them choose 4 or 5, and then I put the rest in the freezer.
Oh.
And so come about middle of the summer when they're wanting something sweet and I didn't want to bake because it was hot, we would go to the freezer and pull out a few candy bars and just did that.
Yeah.
Wow. That's smart.
Frequently.
That's smart. I like it. My candy never lasts that long. Not even to get to the freezer. I can't even do that. Well, anyway, we hope that you had a great Easter. We hope that you enjoyed the candy and the family, but most importantly, celebrating the resurrection of Jesus. And that's what we did this past week. And so we want to recap just a little bit of Sunday. We hope you enjoyed. If you were able to attend the breakfast, the kids did a great job. As always, I love being served by children. I know that your children serve you all the time in your home like that, don't you, with a towel on and everything. I don't know why kids are so much more eager to do it outside of the home than inside of the home.
That's Mary.
It is Mary. That's what it is. But I hope you enjoyed Sunday. We had a great time celebrating. The choir sounded great. No major technical glitches, and we had a great morning. We had some big numbers, too, on Sunday.
I said Sunday is the most people I ever remember coming into our building.
On an Easter?
Anytime. I think that's the biggest Sunday we've ever had since we moved into this building.
Yeah.
That I know of.
So I know that there were people counting. I heard first service, it was just a little over 300 in the early service, but I didn't see what the second was.
It was more second hour.
More?
Yeah, so when you put which Dawn would have been the one to ask, but I figured when you put the kids, because we had nursery and preschool, even though all the elementary kids were in with us, we had nursery and preschool, and I don't know how many teachers and kids were back there, but I said... it's definitely over 600 people, but maybe 650. I don't know.
Yeah, it was a great.
And the biggest number I ever remember before that was 530 or something.
Yeah. Well, I think that's thanks to a lot of you guys who participated in canvassing your communities and inviting your neighbors. I talked with Cecil and a couple other people who literally brought their neighbors to church, and so it was great. And sometimes you don't really know. Some people are willing to participate, but they've never been invited. So it was cool. Sherry, how was your Sunday?
It was good. I came to first service, and I actually got to sit with my husband and my son. And so
strange.
It really kind of is strange.
Yeah.
He goes to Sunday school and then leaves to preach. So
yeah, your husband supply preaches or helps a church as preaching.
Yeah.
So getting to actually worship together as a family. That's awesome.
Yes, it is, but it was very strange.
Do you have any traditions you do for Easter? Other than frozen candy?
Well, that's after. The kids all expect me. When Todd was preaching in Lucerne, they had a carry-in breakfast, and I always made fruit pizza. So the kids still expect that.
Fruit pizza. That's good.
That's about the extent of it.
Do you guys have any Easter traditions, Brian?
Not really. We hide the eggs for our kids, and we didn't do that till Sunday night late when we got back. But
a flashlight party.
Yeah. Well, yeah. We always hide some clues, so they got a Cardinals shirt and stuff. So some of the eggs have a clue. There's always one empty egg, to symbolize the resurrection. But we don't really have we just go to family. I mean, this year, once again, we went to her parents at lunch and up to my family's for supper.
I think it's interesting. Maybe you guys have this experience too. Traditions, we sometimes like hem and haw about them, like, oh, we have to go do this. But when you stop doing it, you miss it. And you're like, oh man, we don't get to go do that this year. Mm-hmm. So I hope for those of you listening that you enjoy the traditions that you have, whether they're big or small, and that you are reminded of the new life that comes through Jesus because of his resurrection. And that's what we talked about. If you did miss the sermon, it's available at tlcc.church, and it was a great service. Like I said, we had the choir and just had a great morning together. So you can go check that out at tlcc.church. Okay, now we have the top 3. You get this before we get into the real stuff. Here are some quick top 3 things you need to know going into this week. And the first we're going to talk a little bit more in depth about, but it's the Shine Conference, Women's Conference, which is on Thursday at Central Christian College of the Bible. We'll talk more about it in a moment, but give us the highlights real quick. What do people need to know? Where do they go to register? And a snippet about the conference.
Okay, we have an afternoon program and an evening program. You don't have to come to both, but if you're available, I am really excited about our workshop leaders. Tina Wilson from Ecclesia Christian Church in Conway, South Carolina is our main speaker, and I heard her speak at ICOM, and she was really good. Mm-hmm. She'll do a workshop at 2 and 3:30. I also have Laura Diebel from Winsville Christian Church. She's a women's minister there, or communications minister, I think is her title. And she will do a workshop as well. She's doing 2 and 5. And then McCall Frankie, sorry, I want to call her by her maiden name, McCall Frankie, is going to do one on biblical archaeology. She was one of the first students who went with Walt Harper to work on the dig in Israel, and she's going to speak at the last 2 workshop times. The workshops are an hour, and then we have a half-hour break in between. So if you can't come at 2, but you can come at 3:30 and hit the last 2, or if you just want to come at 5 and hit the last one, pick one. That's great. And then the evening session or banquet has a meal with it. Starts at 6:30, and we'll have worship by a Timberlake team, Brian, Jessica, and Dawn. And Sandy Fincher is the MC this year, which I'm very excited. That it's not me. And Tina will speak again at the banquet.
Yeah. Okay. That's great. Okay, we also want to let you know about Wednesday nights. You want to take this one?
Sure. Just that we have Wednesday night this week, but there are only a few more. So we always stop our Wednesday nights at the end of April because there's too much going on, and our attendance plummets if we keep doing them after that. And it's hard to get volunteers. Yeah. So we sometimes have some special things during the summer, special study here or there, but for the most part, our classes will wrap up at the end of this month. So you might want to come and enjoy a little bit of fellowship for the last few weeks.
Last couple weeks, absolutely. And then the final one is our Arise Student Ministry is putting on an event called Wanted. And this is coming up, and I can't remember the date of it.
It's Friday.
This Friday?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, you got a lot going on.
This Friday.
All right, so this Friday, you're going to drop your kids off at Pelfrey Hall, which is at the Central Christian College of the Bible, right there on Urbandale.
The main building.
The main building. It's going to be from 5 to 9, and they've designed this night specifically for our kids, and it's great. And I know the kids have been talking about it. If you have questions about that, contact the office, and we'll let you know what's going on. But that happens on Friday. It's called Wanted. And I heard they're doing a Western theme, so I'm excited to see Levi Black in his cowboy outfit and
and they include dinner, so that your kids don't have to eat before they get dropped off.
Awesome, great.
And I didn't say that everything for Shine happens in Pelfrey Hall as well, the main building, and you can pay that day.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Okay, Sherry, you're the spotlight for the week. First off, tell us a little bit about yourself. You've been in Moberly for a while. You work at the Christian College. You've been a member here at this church for a long time. Give us the top things we need to know about Sherry. I'm
a Putnam County midget. I was born in I went to high school in Unionville.
I don't know what that means. A Putnam County midget. I love it.
Well,
it's got to be a rural Missouri thing, though.
That's the mascot for the high school in Unionville.
Yeah.
So
is it still?
it is still, yes.
How do they get away with
I
that?
don't know.
They had the pressure to change it, but they are not.
Wow.
Elementary,
Go
I went.
pick it there.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
No, that's okay.
Okay,
Elementary.
Putnam County
My
midget.
dad is a farmer, and so his farm, he farms right up to the Iowa line.
Mm-hmm.
So there's nobody around except the Amish and my brother's family, practically.
Nice.
But it's a great place. It was a great place to be raised. I came to Bible college a long time ago, and decided I was only going to go for 1 year
At the Christian college
At
here.
the Christian college.
So you came to Moberly.
Mary's sister and brother-in-law encouraged me to do Bible college for 1 year. My family are not Christians, and so I really got involved in the church, and church camp was a big part of my life. So my neighbors took me to church. So if you invited your neighbors, keep doing it, because I'm a Christian today because my neighbors invited me to church.
Yeah.
And took me to church for many years. I came thinking I'd be here for 1 year, and I've been here for decades. I'm in my 23rd year working at the college, but not consecutive, because I worked for 6 and then adopted 2 kids from Taiwan, Haley and Nathan, and I've been back then since Nathan was an infant.
So what do you do at the school? So when I was in school, I just called you the boss because I felt like you ran everything. But so what is it that you do at the school? You do a little bit of everything, but what are your primary jobs?
Having worked there for 20 some years, I have started jobs and just continued them. So as a student worker, I did supply preaching. Mary was my first boss at Central.
Nice.
So I started supply preaching, and I continue that today. I send ministers to churches whose minister is gone. I am Dr. Fincher's assistant. I do events. I help with the publications. I will haul out the trash if it needs to be hauled out. It's just one of those, whatever needs to be done.
So tell me about the connection. So because this church is so close to the Christian college, you've seen the connection between the church and the college and the pros and cons of both of that. Just talk a little bit about from your perspective, how closely linked the church is with the school, and some of the benefits and maybe some of the drawbacks of that.
It's always been connected, just because Mr. Pelfrey, Mr. Pelfrey was an elder for a while. He was when I was a student at Union Avenue. Mr. Kafarnas was a Sunday school teacher for many years, and he was my family leader and a professor. So there's always been a connection. For me, it was a good thing. But yeah, there's always pros and cons to both. I think I put added pressure on myself just because,
you're in both worlds.
I'm in both worlds, and my kids should behave a certain way. I'm sure you, as the minister's kids, you all think your kids should behave a certain way, and as a Bible college employee, my kids have had that impression on them as
Always a lot of pressure. So tell us about your favorite thing about the women's conference that's coming up. They've done women's and men's conferences for a long time. Recently, they've been kind of refocusing what they're for and what we're trying to accomplish. What's your favorite thing about it, and what are you hoping will come out of this conference?
The favorite thing is just watching the women worship together. It's a great day of fellowship, and for this is sometimes I just see the women once a year, and I see them at this conference. So my goal is just that they will leave encouraged and maybe challenged, and that they'll just have a great day of fellowship.
Yeah, that's awesome. You recently are finishing up your master's, and I could see the weight already starting to come off you a little bit, like this burden of the work, which I understand. Tell me, how's that been? How much stress have you felt through this process? Has it been okay? Has it been, I know it's been challenging, but it's been rewarding. Tell me about it for a minute. I'm just curious.
Homework at 50 is a whole lot different than homework at 20.
How many energy drinks are you chugging? No, I'm just kidding.
One yesterday.
Oh no. Okay.
No, it was Sunday.
Okay.
For me as an adult doing this, it's been really good because I got stagnant in my faith and I got stagnant in my work. And so this has been kind of that to jumpstart, to challenge me to do new things. And I have really personalized my education to make it fit me as a person and make it fit my job at Central. And even though I'm not in church ministry per se,
you are.
Well,
I mean,
I teach 5-year-olds, but I'm not.
Yeah, but
in
you've
the
been
church.
but you've been involved and around church ministry for a long time.
I have. Yeah.
Don't downplay yourself here. Don't downgrade it.
But I've taken on new challenges at the college. I've taken on new responsibilities. I've seen a need and campaigned for it, and I got to do it, and so.
That's awesome.
It was fun.
Brian, have you ever been in a spot where you're like, I'm just stagnant right now and needing something to kind of push me to another place? Sometimes that's education. Sometimes it's doing something different.
Well, I said, even just, I've been here going on 16 years, and I said there's kind of 3 phases of my ministry here. If you went back and watched different videos or listened to it, I said, I think it was at MCC or somewhere, somebody was saying about if you've been there long enough, you got to reinvent yourself. And I wouldn't say it's been a total reinvention or anything like that, but you do have to stay fresh at what you do. And usually it's things like conferences that do that for me, going to something that challenges me and accepting the challenge, not just like going home and then everything goes back to normal. But I will say there's a lot of value and wisdom in giving ministers a sabbatical because I think those phases of ministry are marked by the sabbatical. Because you have a long time to focus on things, not just like a 3-day conference, but 4 to 6 weeks, and you come back and you're like, okay, if I'm going to be at this place another 5 years or whatever, these are the things I have to do to stay effective.
So, Dr. Fincher, Sherry needs a sabbatical, preferably 6 weeks paid, preferably. Yeah. She'll take 5, but nothing less than 5.
I'll go for that.
Can we do that? All right, we'll try that. Well, I think it's a good point. It's just when you did go back to school later in life, and if we want different results, we need to do something different. Right. If we want to be in a different place than where we are, you got to do something different. And it's not going to be pursuing a master's degree for everybody, but it might be accepting a challenge or changing up patterns or doing something different than what you've already done. And that's terrifying. How scary was it for you to be like, I'm going to do this?
I hadn't written a term paper for almost 30 years. That was
have they changed that? They have a little bit.
Well, you can do things in Google Drive that, I had a computer, but it wasn't, like the internet wasn't in existence when I...
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, that ages me a lot, but...
it's okay.
It's a different process. And I have to say, I was a diligent student before because that's my personality, but I am a diligent student now. Like, I take my assignments seriously. But I did ask my family before I started this because I know what type of person I am.
You were going to get focused and locked in on it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I think that's just great to hear that, it doesn't matter whether you're younger, whether you're older, it doesn't matter. If you're in a place where you're wanting to be somewhere different, and maybe if it's even in your faith, you can accept a new challenge, and even something like a master's program stretches you and grows you. So a new challenge, new opportunity might be exactly what you need. So that's exciting. Give us, I always ask people if someone was like, man, I'm so grateful for Sherry and all that she does. She's teaching the kids or she's working at Central. I just want to bless her today. What's something people can get you? Can they get you a little snack? Can they get you a little something? Other than 6 weeks paid vacation?
Well, I don't know that they can get me that. I like dark chocolate.
Okay.
Peanut butter. I'm pretty easy to please.
Dark chocolate peanut butter. I like that. That's good. Well, the Shine Women's Conference is happening, and we hope that if you are available, that you'll get the chance to go to that. That's on Thursday of this week, so it's coming up in a couple of days, and we're thankful that, Sherry, thank you for being here today and sharing a little bit with us, and we're also grateful for our relationship with the school. If you have been around here any time or any length of time, you know through the students, through volunteers, through helpers, we were able to do a lot of different things that we probably couldn't do if we didn't have a connection with Central Christian College of the Bible. It's impacted my life. I met my wife there.
Me too.
I met
I met my husband there.
You met your husband there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we all have met our spouses there.
Yeah.
We've all been impacted by the teachers and by the ministries that are there. So we are grateful for our connection with the Christian college. Let's close today with a little bit of encouragement, a final blessing of the week. I was reading through this, I shouldn't say reading. I was using this book as a reference, so I was more glancing through it for when we did our Passover talk on Friday. On Good Friday, we talked about the Passover. And there was a quote in here that I really, really liked that was brought out then. I thought I'll share it with you for those of you who may not have been there. On Friday, we remember the death of Jesus, and of course, we celebrate his resurrection on Sunday. But like we said Sunday, you don't get resurrection without death. And so here, this writer was talking about what the word Passover means, that it's two words that are combined. The two words meaning to spread the wings over. And they write this: in this sense, as birds are flying, so will the Lord of hosts defend Jerusalem. Defending also he will deliver it, and passing over he will preserve it. The word, consequently, the very meaning of the Egyptian term for spreading wings over and protecting, means sheltering and protection, the outstretched wings of the Almighty. Does this not give us a new fullness to the words, O Jerusalem, how often I have wished to gather you together as a hen does under her wings? This term applied to the ceremony of Passover, then, does not merely mean that the Lord passed by the house of the Israelites, but that he stood on guard, protecting each blood-sprinkled door, that the Lord will not suffer the destroyer to come in. And the point that's made in this idea that God is our protector is that the Lord often works on behalf of his people when things look the darkest. In the words of the psalmist, weeping may remain for a night, but the rejoicing comes in the morning. That's Psalm 30, verse 5. And so as the morning came for the Israelites, there was joy in the freedom that was given to them because God was their defender. It wasn't just that he avoided them, but he passed over in protecting them and guarding them under his wings. And he does the same for us in Christ Jesus. Jesus is the Passover lamb. He guards us and protects us. No matter what you may be facing today, it is the reminder that God works on behalf of his people, even when things look dark. So keep going and don't give up. That's your encouragement for today. We thank you for joining us on this podcast. We love you guys. We'll see you later.